Welcome back to Low End University. When I reviewed I Choose by the Offspring, I was actually pretty floored that it was the same band who wrote Pretty Fly for a White Guy, which is like the area of their catalog I'd really only ever heard. I was told I Choose really captured more of the band's musicianship alongside a great bass line from Greg Kay. After that video, it seems like a lot of you want me to hear Bad Habit. I think it's because everyone also wants me to hear the full Smash album. I'm sure it won't be long, but without further ado, let's hear Bad Habit. A little psychedelic. Sounds like a damn Pink Floyd album opener or something.
Hey man, you know I'm really okay. The gun
Whoa.
in my hand will tell you the same. But when I'm in my car, don't give me no crap, 'cause the slightest
This is super
thing
cool.
it just might snap it. Oh!
Wow.
When I go driving, I stay in my lane.
Holy shit.
We're getting cut off, it makes me insane.
This is the last thing I expected to hear. I mean, I was already kind of, again, taken aback hearing I Choose. It had this great production, great musicianship. Again, Pretty Fly for a White Guy, that kind of stuff. That's just what I had known of the band. You hear that stuff over PA speakers. Don't think much of it. You hear it in movies. Don't think much of it. Yeah, this had this, like, the brooding nature of, like, a Pink Floyd album opener. That I just keep coming back to the suspense, all the space. And the biggest cool thing about this is that I really feel like I'm in the room with them. They didn't chop off the ends of notes. They didn't mute certain things between instruments coming in and out. You heard all the little movements in the room and like the reverbs and the echoes, or like something way across the room. The mic was still live. You heard the little, like, you very much felt that lively quality about it. I want to experience that again. Now we've come in with a really badass kind of heavy metal riff, bluesy riff. Just you know, I had misjudged this band. I figured that out. I think this takes that up a notch. And to start, excuse me, to start right off with the dynamic bass part that was, which gives me a lot of information, kind of get the tone right. Wow. Okay. Didn't expect this. Okay. Not to get too granular here, but there's a couple things I want you to listen for that I heard that I liked. That's the first one. Going right into that A, you hear those notes kind of ring out together. It kind of sounds like, you know, the part is, but I hear this kind of roll into it, a little bit of a note overlapping, and little movements and guitar noises. I love the liveliness of that. They could have easily taken that stuff out with that, you know, the budget this album probably had. Any budget, you could take stuff like that out. But they left it in, and I think that's very charming. There's very much an undercurrent of live recording here. Okay. Yeah, just...
Hey man, you know I'm really okay.
The vocals are...
The gun in my hand will tell
captivating.
you the same. But when I'm in my car, don't give me no crap, 'cause the slightest thing in a
Major
just
5.
might snap it.
Yeah, that's the perfect chord to put before the band comes in because they hadn't given you that yet. You know, if you would have played this for me, having no context, I would have been like, this is some badass 80s classic rock chart topper kind of thing. And it's just, misjudging what I know about the band. But I'm very biased to that sound. It's what I grew up on. So this is scratching that itch. I mean, the vocalist, Dexter Holland, I believe he's the vocalist the whole time. So talented. So much depth in that voice. Tone-wise, I'm fooling around with it a bit. I'm thinking it's a P bass. It's a little scooped. So I've taken off some highs, some mids, but it's got a nice tight bottom end, so I might just add some low mids and maybe keep the bass flat. I've scooped it here with the contour. I don't think I'm messing with any drive channel stuff, but if I take off my jazz pickup a bit, roll the tone knob back a bit, I kind of get the... It's a little top end on the attack, but it's still warm round and not too grating or anything. You hear that ambient noise? It might just be the drummer off, keeping beat. Not necessarily a primary part of that hi-hat chick, but it's lively. Maybe less bass now that I hear that.
Hey man, you know I'm really okay. The gun in my hand will tell you the same.
I think I'm just enamored with the vibe of this more than anything.
I'm in my car, don't give me no crap, 'cause the slightest thing and I just might snap it. Oh!
Okay, we're in.
When I go driving, I stay in my lane.
That's a great riff.
Cut off, it makes me insane.
Dun, 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 dun. It's got this very, groups of threes kind of in there.
We're getting cut off, it makes me insane. Open the glove box, reach inside, gonna wreck this fucker's pride, 'cause I got a
Major 5.
I'm blowing away.
Wow.
It ain't going away.
Whoa! The chugs? What is happening? This is just, some of you might be watching and going, yeah, it's the Offspring, dude. Duh. Well, I'm taken aback, and these are my favorite kinds of videos. I go in expecting maybe something with a bit of priming based on what I've heard, for it all to just be knocked over. Love all this stuff. Just all the tight chugging down there. It sounds like we're back to it, but you can't ignore just the soaring vocals in the stratosphere up here. I just love the sound of his voice on this recording. It doubles, it harmonizes well. Of course, there could be another person doing some of these layers. It's a powerhouse voice. Okay, back to this, I think. No. Okay, cool. Call and answer? Now it's kind of a call and answer. And it kind of does this thing where he tags on the end, goes up high. I know I'm getting a couple of those notes wrong, but it's definitely got that character bluesy rock riff kind of thing. Okay, when I said it's stacked really well, talking about his voice, this is what I'm talking about. It, instead of just sounding like two voices, it almost sounds like three or four. And, that's a whole nother discussion about how some vocalists just have the right overtones and character in their voice to where when it stacks and the way the brain interprets it, because, there's a whole thing about stereo imaging and such, some vocals just have sort of that thing. It sounds like you're putting an effect on it. And there could be, but the point is it just stacks well. It just sounds huge. I'm talking about this part right here, which has happened a few times earlier. See, when it's by itself, it's a powerhouse voice, but it still has very much like kind of a thinner quality to it, which really helps it's the way it cuts through. But when it doubles, it's like it's a superpower enabled. Single versus double.
Brothers are rude, such attitudes, but when I show my peace, complaints see some things odd. Feel like I'm God.
Woo,
You
it's going on a long
stupid,
time.
Dumb shit, goddamn motherfucker!
Whoa. Now we're all chromatic, a little tense. There's something so comfortable about vocals being that intense, but nothing else happening, and for that going on so long. It's almost like, okay, so what we just heard vocally, right? That has nothing in common. This has nothing in common with all this. But isn't there something so unsettling about each of those sections that ties them together? Like you're waiting for the other shoe to drop musically, and just when you think, a typical vocal isolated part like this might last four counts or something, but it just goes and goes and goes, and I think that makes you uncomfortable. It's like having a conversation with somebody in the room, and they ask you a question, and you just go. Like that silence kind of makes you uncomfortable, but both of these sections I've just highlighted do that in different ways. And then it makes the impact all more impactful when it all comes back in. So let me go into that again.
Brothers are rude, such attitudes, but when I show my peace, complaints see some.
You think it's going to go right there, and it doesn't.
Feel like I'm God, you stupid, dumb shit, goddamn motherfucker!
There it is. And now we come in with a new riff that's got chromaticism and kind of carries forward a bit of that unsettling undercurrent, right? Almost like a minor pentatonic, just with some chromaticism walking down.
Stupid, dumb shit, goddamn motherfucker!
Yeah. Kind of. Those notes are included. The quantities of them I'm sure of, but it's like a gurgle, almost the bass line. Kind of that thing, but all unison, all one riff. That's so high. It's an A4 for a male vocalist. No, no. That's high. I think he jumps it to a C5 there, which is, very high, and he doesn't lose any power behind it. It sounds just as cutting, right? And again, this embodies the same type of thing I always talk about. Just a couple notes. Catchy as hell. 3 or 4 notes. You don't need more than that. This is a perfect example. Wow. Slow down. I'm going to throw my own third in there. make it extra unresolved. Bad Habit. I don't know, for whatever reason, I kind of came into punk rock and I just kind of got this feeling about the Offspring when I read comments. It's like, yeah, whatever, that kind of just reading into it. I think some people get offended when a band just crosses over and becomes so huge. It's that whole thing, and I'm not really here to debate that right now, but I think a band can be generalized by the sides of a catalog that maybe some people don't like, or they miss the old sound, and sometimes that really proliferates what a fan base has to say. But at the same time, as somebody coming into it completely new, I can kind of miss out on areas of their catalog that are so different from what I know, this being probably the biggest example. I think my takeaway from this song is it's so creative with such little to offer, like such little ingredients. Like the way they rolled into the song with like a couple notes on bass, it was the feeling they captured that isn't black ink on paper. It isn't rhythms or notes. It's just the way it was delivered. The delivery was awesome here. And then it just got so in the stratosphere vocally, intense rhythmically, the riffs. I think I'm just very, very surprised as somebody who has not heard much of anything from this band. But I hear this is the album to hear. This is the album that put them on the map, supposedly. I would love to hear what your favorite Offspring bass lines are. I would love to come back to them. But thanks to many of you who have requested this and liked the comment, and many others like it. And on Patreon, this one was voted very high recently too. So it just meant I had to do it. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. Come support the channel on Patreon or visit our merch store, get you some swag. Make sure you subscribe to the channel here. I love you all. We'll see you in the next one.